Crystal Waters, It Began in Europe, Book 1 in the Crystal Waters series by Diana Rozevskis. Chapter 2. The Letters. Emma sighed as she sipped her sweet, sugary tea. Grace was off with her schoolmates, and Auntie Peggy's tales of her exotic travels dominated the tea-soaked conversation between her and her mum in the kitchen. "Oh dear, it was a trip of a lifetime, it was," raved Auntie Peggy. "Of course I'm off to Portugal, Spain and Andorra next year. I hear they knit lovely jumpers there." Emma left Mum and Auntie Peggy to talk and went upstairs. Emma pressed her nose against the window in the hall and watched the rain trickle down the pane. Feeling the chill and dampness of the gloomy day seeping through the window, her breath on the cold glass fogged a small patch, and she drew a sad face in it. The face began to run, and it now looked like it was crying, a reflection of her feelings of loneliness. If only she had a pet to keep her company. She knew they were not allowed as Mum was allergic and brought on severe asthma attacks. Auntie Peggy's earlier antics with Grace brought a momentary smile to Emma's face. Grace's expression was priceless as she was scooped into a bear hug by Auntie Peggy and covered with candy pink lipstick. In sign language, Grace told Emma that Auntie Peggy's whiskers reminded her of a hedgehog. Emma chuckled. Grace had been mortified and was still rubbing her cheek as she went out the door. Emma trudged up the stairs along the landing to Mum's bedroom. She loved exploring her mother's jewellery box to find hidden gems. Lifting the box lid, a little ballet dancer popped up and twirled around to the sweet, tinkling music. Emma hummed the tune to herself as she had heard it many times before. Out of all the jewellery, she preferred the old pieces. She tried on the pearl clip-on earrings and matching necklace. She looked at herself in the mirror. On top of the dressing table was a small framed picture of Mum and Dad on their wedding day. Both appeared joyful. Dad, with his blonde hair, blue eyes and golden complexion, looked quite dashing in his grey suit and cravat. Mum looked exquisite. Her dark hair was half pinned up with soft curls that fell to her bare shoulders. Around her neck and ears was the same jewellery Emma had on. A pang of longing hit her as she wished for one more moment with her dad. She let out a sigh and stroked the photo before putting Mum's jewellery back in the box. She was about to close the lid when something that she had not seen before caught her eye. The velvet lining had shifted, exposing the workings of the music box. Her eyes then fell upon a small silver key. She scooped it out, held it in the palm of her hand, and stared at it. "I wonder," Emma said aloud. She walked to Mum's open wardrobe and reached to the back where she found a brown leather briefcase. She had found it months ago, but it was locked, so had put it back in the wardrobe and forgotten all about it. She laid it down on the bed and slid the key into the lock. It turned and the catch clicked open. Inside, Emma found more photos of Mum and Dad, baby photos of her and Grace in a small plastic container. Emma opened it up and dropped it. "Ew," she shuddered. Inside was a fine pair of false teeth. Who on earth did they belong to? She closed the lid with a snap and turned it over. It read, "Bill's teeth." Why would Mum want to keep her dead father's teeth? Tossing the teeth aside, she continued to search the bag. An old baby shawl covering old cassette tapes, one labelled "Take on Me" by a Norwegian band called Aha. Pushing them aside, she noticed a large bundle of letters tied together with brown twine. She lifted them out to read the top envelope. The date was 4 years ago. Emma untied the string and thumbed through. They were in date order and were all addressed to Mum. They couldn't be love letters from Dad, as they had been written months after he'd died. Emma slid out the first letter from its envelope and opened it up. "Dear Meg, my darling daughter, words cannot express the utter devastation I feel at this present time. I share your grief and the tragic loss of our beloved William. I too loved him dearly, as if he were my son. I have written this letter many times now, and I still struggle to find the right words to say to you and the girls. I want to express my sincere apology and acknowledge the pain you are feeling. I know that nothing can undo what has happened, which means that we will both carry this pain for a while. Please believe me when I say I wish I could turn back the clock. Alas, even that, my dear, is beyond my capabilities. I know when you left Foyersby Hall after William died, we parted with angry words as you blamed me for his death. I hope that your anger has subsided, and you will be able to forgive a foolish, stupid old woman, your loving mother. Emma noticed that some of the words were smudged. Gran's tears, she suspected. A sudden sadness washed over her as she folded the letter and put it back in its envelope. The following letter was dated a month after the first. My darling Meg, it has been a month since my last letter, and I fear that your lack of response confirms my assumption of your continued anger towards me. I am unsure if you are reading the letters I sent, or if you are discarding them right away. Nevertheless, I want you to know that I will never give up on you. You can find solace in knowing that my love for you will always endure. I wish that my head were as empty as my heart is feeling right now. I am a tortured woman from within, and will remain so until I have my daughter and my family back in my life. Your always devoted mother. Emma continued reading Gran's letters, which maintained a consistent tone throughout. Gran expressed deep remorse, begged for Mum's forgiveness and reassured her of her love. Emma's eyes stung as tears streamed down her face. She had been blind to it all. She had not realised how much Gran blamed herself for her dad's death. Why hadn't Mum found it in her heart to forgive her own mother? Mum should have known it had all been a tragic accident and the gas explosion could have happened to anyone. Gran had not made it happen. Emma flicked through the final letter dated 2 months ago. When she opened it, she noticed it was from someone else, as the handwriting was different. Dear Meg, I write to you now after all these years, as I cannot hold my silence any longer. It has been more than 4 years since Herman and I last saw you. These years have been the toughest for me during my stay at Foyersby Hall with your mother. She is not only our employer but a dear friend to Herman and me. Over the years, I have noticed that your mother's sadness has caused her to change into someone I barely recognise. I felt compelled to write to you because of the severe impact it has had on her health. She has diminished drastically and needs support. I humbly appeal to your better nature and hope you can grant an old friend a wish and see her. I regret to say if you do not, she may not see out the year. Yours faithfully, Olga. Emma stared at this letter for a while. It was not only sadness she felt, she was now angry. Olga had written this letter 2 months ago, pleading with Mum to help her dying mother, but she hadn't done anything about it. Unable to contain her emotions, Emma stormed downstairs, letters in hand, to confront her mum. She flew through the kitchen door, strode over to Mum and threw the letters down at her feet. Her mum looked up at Emma, and then down to the floor at the scattered letters. "How could you not go and see Gran after you found out she was dying?" roared Emma, her face now flushed scarlet with rage. Mum's face changed in seconds from stunned to angry as the realisation suddenly started to sink in. "How dare you go into my private things?" Mum hissed. "That's none of your concern." Mum's face reddened as she teetered on the brink of losing her temper. They were now almost nose to nose as they stared at each other. "It is my business! She's my Gran!" cried Emma. Auntie Peggy shifted uncomfortably in her chair as she watched Mum and Emma glare at each other. Now, you two, let's try and talk this thing out. I'm sure we can all be civilised," she squeaked. You don't know anything about it, Emma. Mum was angry and ignored Auntie Peggy's attempts to calm things down. Well, why don't you try to explain? Snarled Emma. I don't have to explain anything to you, stammered Mum. She now looked flustered. Go up to your room, now, she screamed. Emma sought help from Auntie Peggy, but to her surprise, she was nowhere to be found. Overcome with emotions, Emma ran out of the kitchen in tears. Later, after Auntie Peggy had left and Mum's anger had subsided, she went to Emma's bedroom. Emma was sitting on her windowsill, staring out of her window. She did not look at Mum as she walked in. Mum looked around the room at the Evanescence posters on the walls and the unmade bed. She straightened the black duvet cover before she sat down on it. Emma, I'm so sorry I shouted at you, she began. I agree. I should have informed you and Grace about Gran's condition. She sniffled and retrieved a tissue from her pocket to wipe her nose. I've been considering it, and I think we should visit her. But the house still holds many painful memories for me, and I'm struggling to find the courage to go back. She hung her head and looked like she was about to cry. Emma's emotions softened. She jumped down from the windowsill, went over to Mum and put her arm around her. So, when will we go then? She asked with a weak smile.